Welcome back. You're watching Morning Live. Time now to bring you your sports bulletin, which is going to be dominated by this, because just over 2 weeks ago, the world and the country lost a legend of football. Dr. Steve Mokone, known simply as Kalamazoo, was the first black South African player to play overseas, and following a period of poor health, passed away in America at the age of 82. Kalamazoo made history and paved the way for many more players from the country in the professional ranks in England, Holland, Spain and Italy. After retiring, he moved to Canada and later to the United States, where he obtained not one, but 2 PhDs. Mokone received the Order of Ikhamanga as well as the Steve Tshwete Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012. Now on Saturday, the country's football fraternity will remember him in a ceremony worthy of the history that he made. The Minister of Sport and Recreation now joins us to chat a little bit more about this. Good morning, Minister. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning to all listeners.
Minister, can you just explain to us the importance of having this memorial service that will be taking place at FNB Stadium?
It's very important. First, the memorial service is the idea of Dr. Kalamazoos himself. The second idea of him, which he signed in his will, is that his remains must be placed somewhere in a stadium in Africa. And we chose with his family that they will be placed at FNB, which is our national stadium. It's a colossal, figure, life, like the unknown poet will say, there is no grave big enough to bury him. African elephant. He was a great African, a great South African, which I think if you look at what apartheid did to us, and people think that it's only today that we started to play in England and, in Europe and so on. It started way back then in 1955, at the age of 16, playing for Coventry City. The first black African among white people in Europe, in particular in England. And I think he went then thereafter, like you said, to go and study in the United States of America. So we thought that this memorial is befitting and to have it at FNB Stadium.
I mean, it's very significant that he would write that his remains must come to a stadium in Africa, because Dr. Danny Jordan, the head of SAFA, made the observation that, there's virtually no history of a man that paved the way for football players from South Africa. And all the history is written overseas. So it's really significant that he would write that in his will.
Yes, I think Dr. Kalamazoos made a great contribution. Even when he passed on, Steve Mokone Football Foundation is continue to make strides in the development of youngsters, taking some of them to go in the United States of America, Football Academy and so on. I think he was a passionate South African. When I became Minister of Sport, he wrote to me and he emphatically in that letter emphasized that your path of emphasizing school sport and schools development is the way to go. And he said that I'm a partner with you with regard to that. And subsequent to that, he was supposed to come and receive the Steve Tshwete Lifetime Achievement Award. He could not because he fell ill. But he sent his wife, Louise, who gave a moving, speech at the awards, in which he accepted on behalf of his husband. He was a patriot, in and out, and also an individual, colorful, with, great accolades and achievements. And if you talk history and what people must follow in their life career of football, this is the individual.
You mentioned that letter. What other interactions did you have with Dr. Mokone?
Other interactions, there are many. His support for the 2010 World Cup, but over and above that, for me, it was an outstanding figure in terms of the history of football in this country, whom I think will continue to celebrate his life. And he has given his life to us to celebrate in order to educate the nation. And that decision he took himself, but it didn't have to be him to take a decision about how to celebrate his life. It is upon us. Dr. Kalamazoo Mokone said that the street is named after him in Holland, a stadium, He received the highest accolade honor in terms of the national orders, the honor of Ikhamanga. And I think it needs to be decorated, like going forward. And our intention with SAFA is to have a statue or a bust at FNB Stadium and play, an invitational or whatever game, friendly of Bafana Bafana versus the best side in the world to unveil that. But this coming weekend, we'll have his ashes. Will come with his family starting from the 8th, and they will stay at FNB and will be placed there on Saturday at his memorial service.
Let's speak a little bit about the memorial service and what's actually going to be happening. It's happening from 9 o'clock up until 1 o'clock Saturday at FNB Stadium. What are the order of proceedings?
We're expecting 5,000 people to come, football lovers, supporters and South Africans and viewers at home. Probably, if the public broadcaster agrees, will broadcast that live, and all other channels and radio stations. We talk about his life, and we have great people there to speak about that and his family, most importantly. So as he arrives from the airport, his ashes and his family will be welcomed by the leadership of football in South Africa, together with the Minister of Sport and all other sport personalities in South Africa, and will be led to his final resting place at FNB Stadium, which will have this occasion in the form of a memorial service to talk about his life.
And I believe that some of his trophies, his certificates will also be on display at the FNB Stadium. Is that going to be the precursor to hopefully a South African, sports history museum?
Look, in South Africa today, we're talking about the Sports Hall of Fame. There are so many people that needs to be honored. And I think Dr. Kalamazoo Mokone will be the first name amongst many that will be in that Hall of Fame and that will be inducted in that Hall of Fame. We're looking at before end of the year to actually have that. We've had South Africans who started the idea of the Hall of Fame, but a Hall of Fame is not in the hands of private commercial interest. It's about preservation of history and induct, so many names of South Africans who have contributed, black and white, in the development of sports, and they need to be inducted in that up until the present generation. It's not all about the rewards of money. It's about accolades of what you have achieved as an individual. So that memorabilia, we will keep it in display. I think Louise, the wife of the late Dr. Kalamazoo Mokone, did make mention of the fact that you would like those to be put somewhere in a museum, but our museum is going to be the Hall of Fame.
All right, lovely stuff. Thank you very much. That is our Minister of Sport and Recreation, Fikile Mbalula. Thank you very much, and all the best of luck with the memorial service for Dr. Steve Mokone. I hope we're going to have you in studio in a couple of weeks' time to talk all about transformation. There's other important issues that we also need to discuss when it comes to sports. That's our Sports Minister, Fikile Mbalula, speaking about the Steve Kalamazoo Memorial, which will be taking place at FNB Stadium from 9 to 1 o'clock on a Saturday here in Johannesburg.